Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rise, Kill, Eat podcast. My name is Tyler Pruitt, and I am the host and the founder of this show. The goal of the Rise, Kill, Eat podcast is to share the values, the ideas, and the conversations around what we are the most passionate about: God, freedom, and the great outdoors. This has been an incredible experience for me personally, and I know you guys have enjoyed the show as well. If you have not already subscribed to the show, go ahead and do so, because I have been working hard to schedule some awesome future guests, and I'm looking forward to being able to share these conversations with you guys. So real quick, go ahead and push that subscribe button on the podcast platform you're listening on right now. I'm excited to share the conversation I had with my guest on the Rise Kill Eat podcast today. Jordan Miller is the owner and operator of the brand Run to Gun. Run to Gun provides hunters and outdoorsmen with premier preparation resources, and Jordan has put together a great brand that offers superior training programs as well as a line of dietary supplements in order to prepare you for your next hunt. I've had the opportunity to try Run to Gun's Seeker supplements as well as the daily multivitamin, and I have to tell you that I am incredibly impressed with what Jordan has put together. Prior to taking Seeker, I struggled with the worst mid-afternoon groggy feelings where I had no energy. I had to rely on coffee just to kind of get me going. I mean, there was many times where I'd have to brew a cup of coffee just to get me through the day, it feels like. And don't get me wrong, I love coffee. I love the taste. I'm an avid coffee lover, but to rely on that in order to get me through the day without, wanting to lay down on the couch and take a nap, which was, of course, affecting my ability to be productive, it was becoming an issue for many reasons. But once I started Seeker, these mid-afternoon tired feelings have all but gone away. I haven't experienced any since. Seriously, it feels great to be able to have that focused and be able to have that in the afternoon. I feel more focused. I have a healthy amount of energy with no jitters. And on top of all that, it tastes great. I tried the countryside strawberry flavor. And man, I have to tell you, it tastes incredible. So if you're interested in checking out Run to Gun supplements and products after you hear Jordan tell all about it, then head over to run2gun.com. That's RUN, the number 2, GUN.com, and check out some of those products there. Also, use the promo code RISEKILLEAT25 at checkout, and you'll take 25% off of your order. So run2gun.com, use promo code RISEKILLEAT, all lowercase, the number 2, the number 5, and you'll take 25% off of your order there. So that is a huge discount on products that are already reasonably priced. So again, make sure you take advantage of that. This code was specifically made for you guys, Rise Kill Eat podcast faithful. So make sure you check it out today. But don't just take my word for it. I really enjoyed this conversation that I had with Jordan, where we discussed the importance of being healthy. Jordan's own podcast entitled the Live Beyond Average podcast, and of course, more of the details on all of the products and services that Run to Gun offers. So be sure to connect with him, and let's go ahead and dive into my talk with him today. All right, so I am here with Jordan Miller. So Jordan, man, I appreciate you being on the Rise Kill Eat podcast with me. This is really cool to be able to connect with you, and I appreciate you being on here.
Heck yeah, man. I am stoked. I was pumped last week when you reached out and we connected a little bit there and got these schedules worked out. So I've been excited for about a week to get on here, man.
Yeah, man, it's certainly my pleasure because I've been following you for a while now. I first heard your story whenever you were discussing with Colin Kotcher on his Activate the Hunt podcast. I think that was maybe a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Whenever you were on this show, and I started following you then, and just watching your mentality and watching you share your story and that kind of thing. It's always been really cool. And it's been encouraging for me, especially when it comes to health and that kind of thing. And we'll definitely dive into that. But man, how things are going? How are they going right now with this crazy world that we
Right? I'm like one of those guys who, like, when things get crazy, I just throw my blinders on and go the opposite direction and just keep doing what I want to do. I just you get so, mind enthralled with stuff so easily if you just want to let it consume you, and it just takes you off focus so fast. And we've all had days or hours or whatever it is with all of this, but Man, I don't know. I always feel like I just try to like turn the other way and stay focused on what I need to do. Just because I don't know. I guess I have faith that things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. So I just stay focused on what I'm trying to do. I stay focused on the long term and keep doing daily things that I know are going to help get me there. So
Yeah, I think that's probably a good mentality, and that's something that I try to do often. I mean, it's just like with the whole social media and the whole media, everything is they're always trying to inundate you with information, and most of the time, 99% of the time, it's usually not necessarily even information you want to hear, and it's just
I know it.
crazy how like in this everything that's going on, it's just how crazy how we can become we can lose that focus, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We can lose that focus on what's actually important, and we can focus on all these other things that don't necessarily, have an impact on, the things that matter the most. And for me, like it's my wife and kids here in our roof. As long as I can provide for them and I can protect them and that kind of thing, and everything else, I'm just gonna keep charging on and just kind of focus on the things that matter. So I can definitely relate to that.
I 100% agree with you, man. 100%. But yeah, everything else is pretty awesome. We've had a hot couple weeks here. I'm up in South Dakota, and it has been really hot for June. We've had a ton of wind the last 2 weeks, which we get wind in South Dakota a lot, but it's been just hot and windy the last few weeks. So we're ready. It's been good, man. I'm pumped for some hot weather. So
So you're up there in South Dakota. Did you get any spring bear hunting done?
did not. I have
Okay,
some buddies that it's pretty common for guys to just drive over to Montana and
gotcha.
hit up a short week of spring bear hunting or something. But to tell you, I have never done that. It's on the list of things to do. I just haven't gotten around. I tell myself every year, like, oh yeah, next spring we're gonna jump over and do it, and then spring rolls around, and I got 72 other things on the docket to do, so
Yeah.
it'll happen.
Yeah, that spring season, man, it's always seems like it's pretty busy, and there's always all kinds of different things going on. I know, like the fall, obviously gets a lot of the hunting credit as
Hmm.
far as being the hunting season, but there's a lot of things going on in the spring too, and it seems like with work and career and life, like springs always seems like it's a busy time for a lot of people. I know it is for me especially, but I
Yeah,
know a lot of people it's pretty busy.
yeah, it is for me too. I mean, you're gearing up for a busy summer of training. For us, we're getting all the people that want want to get in shape during the summer months, that are ready to rock, ready to get ready for fall potentially. So spring is busy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, how long have you been up there in South Dakota? Is that where you grew up?
Great.
Is that home for you?
Yeah, born and raised South Dakota. I grew up kind of like central portion of the state, a little town called Murdo, 500 people, right off the interstate. And basically, we have Interstate 90 going east and west. And we have Highway 83 going north and south, which goes from Canada to Mexico. So it's kind of like a little tourist stop, get gas point, but really small town, small high school. 13 kids in my class, married one of them. So
There you go.
super
Chances are
small.
good.
Exactly, super small town, but there wasn't a lot to do. It was western South Dakota, so it was hunting or you were in the gym. You know, unless you were going to be out getting in trouble or something, which a lot of people did too. So it was you didn't have a ton of choices. It was work, work for your family business. Go out hunting or hit the weight room or be putting up shots on the court. So that was my childhood basically.
Yeah, gotcha. So you've been hunting for a while, then it sounds like then. So how did you first get involved with hunting? Who was it that introduced you? Who kind of that put that outdoors bug, I guess, quote unquote, so to speak, into your mentality?
Yeah, for sure. So I was lucky. You hear some stories of guys, not getting into it till later because their dads weren't, hunters or whatever. But
Yeah,
my whole family was. My dad put a pellet gun in my hand when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I was out, shooting sparrows in the backyard as he's teaching me. But I got to, see him come home from hunts when I was really little, where I was too small to go with him. And then my grandpa hunted as well. My great uncles were very accomplished hunters, and we would go out to their cabins out in the Black Hills. Growing up, and their whole lodge or cabin would be, lined with big mule deer. Some of the first elk that were elk tags issued in South Dakota. My uncle had giant elk, bighorn sheep, mountain goats. So I really looked up to these guys from that standpoint as well. Obviously, they were great men, which is why I looked up to them. But from the hunting side as well was just so cool because you'd go into their places and they'd have all these trophies and memories and they would tell you the stories. And then as a kid, what are you doing, right? You're dreaming about these same type of adventures. You're dreaming about someday having a wall as awesome as theirs. Um, and so, I looked forward so much to every year of the hunting season. And even when I couldn't hunt yet, um, to just hear their stories, to finally be able to tag along. And that was how I just got into it, man. And it was consuming. And then you have a couple friends that are the same way. And man, our falls were spent getting out of school and jumping out maybe and jumping out to a little piece of public land and shooting a few grouse or pheasants right after school. Deer season, it was, head right out right away. The opener was obviously looked forward to just like it is today. And dude, it was awesome. We would get up early during deer season as well and even hunt the morning. And I would come in. I remember a couple different times I would come in, I'd miss almost all of first period of school and I'd come in. And luckily one of my teachers that one year I had, he was an avid hunter as well. And so you could easily get him off course talking about hunting.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'd come in with 5 minutes left of period and I'd kind of sneak in and he'd catch me coming in and he'd just look at me and goes, "Did you get anything?" And I'd be like, not this morning. He was like, "Well, I'm glad you have your priorities straight." Didn't care one bit, like he knew how important it was. I just thought that was awesome that, it was this limited time during the year. He knew I was out with my dad. Like he just knew, like there's always going to be school, but there's only 2 weeks of deer hunting kind of thing.
Right.
So it was pretty neat.
That's awesome. I'm a teacher also, and I know I have some students also that they know that if they want to get me talking about something other than what I should be talking about, then go ahead and mention, deer or turkey hunting or something like that. Because then after that, man, we're gonna be sitting there talking for another 5-10 minutes about whatever they wanted to, not necessarily what I wanted to talk about. So
See,
I can definitely relate to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But yeah, going back to a little bit, being a kid and having those mentors. I mean, I think it's just important for kids to have people in their lives that are going to, be a positive role model and be somebody that you can look up to. That's something that I obviously want to do with my kids. I have a
Right.
6-year-old little boy and a 4-year-old little girl, and both of them, like, I want to be an example for them. For my son, I want to be an example, of course, for, like, I want to be like dad, one
Yeah,
day. And then for my daughter, I want to be an example of, I want somebody like dad one day, you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So just having those people in our lives and those older people that can kind of be a mentor, and it just plays a huge part. And especially when it comes to hunting and being in the outdoors and that kind of thing. My dad, he kind of first introduced me to hunting with some whitetail down here in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And then, growing up and that kind of thing, we always went out during rifle season, hunted during those 2 or 3 weeks that it was. It was just so cool to be able to have that relationship with somebody that is older. I know that's something that you can relate to.
Dude, completely. And like you nailed it. Like I have that connection with you as well. I have a 5.5 little girl and a 3.5 little boy, so kind of spaced out the same as yours. And I
Yeah,
mean, you nailed it with that. Your description, I feel the exact same way. Um, it matters, man. It really does.
it really does. And the way I see it is like, if me as a dad, if I can't make an impact in my kid's life, then the way I see it is that other people will. And I want to be able to be somebody that is going to be, of course, like I said, a role model, but at the same time, those other people that could potentially influence them, like 9 out of 10 times, it's probably going to be somebody that I don't necessarily want them to be influenced by, especially in this, like we were mentioning before, this crazy world that we're living in. And it's an important role that we have as dads, an important role that we have as husbands. And it's, that translates over to, of course, hunting and being somebody that can, of course, be somebody that can show them how to appreciate animals and how to appreciate the process, and working hard for achieving a goal and those kinds of things. And that's really why I like having that relationship with my kids, as far as being able to take them fishing, being able to take them hunting, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're so right, man. And it as parents, it can be challenging some days, obviously, because you want to be their friends so much, and
Right.
sometimes you have to remember, like, you can't always be their friend first. We have to be their parent first and be that, the correct influence. Just because, like you said, not yeah, 9 or 10 people you don't want them to be influenced by.
Right.
And it says, right in the Bible that, we're, as parents, we're responsible, for our children, and our families,
Absolutely.
and that, we'll be judged on that someday.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
it's key that we're, the man of the household is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an important role that I think a lot of males are really kind of skipping out on that role. Fortunately, there's still a lot of guys that have that prioritized, and you can see that in their home life. You can see that in their marriage, and in their
Mm-hmm.
relationship with their kids, and in their faith, their relationship with God. And you can see that the people that prioritize that, like, you can definitely see the fruits of the labor, the fruits of the tree, as like you were mentioning with the Bible. You can see these types of things in their life, and it's such an important part as far
Totally.
as having those relationships. But man, so what's it like? Let's go ahead and skip back here to hunting
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that
yeah.
little tangent.
Hey, Father's Day week, man. We'll
Father's Day week. That's right.
a little bit of
Let's see,
parenting tip 101.
2 or 3 days before, 3 or 4 days, I guess, before Father's Day. So this is what's on our mind. But
Exactly.
so what's it like to hunt in South Dakota? I've never been out that way before. I've got a couple of buddies of mine that have been out there doing some pheasant hunting, doing
Sure.
some duck hunting, and bear hunting and that kind of thing up there. So what's it like being out there in South Dakota?
Man, I feel lucky that I got to grow up here, because there's a little bit of everything. We have the upland game, the pheasant, the grouse hunting that is spectacular. We have, we're still in the waterfowl corridor, so you have a long season, depending on where you're at in the state, of goose hunting. You have duck hunting as well,
Mhm.
and then, for me, I'm more of a big game guy. So we have a lot of opportunity for deer hunting. We have whitetail and mule deer, so that's pretty special, having both, and opportunity to shoot really big whitetail and opportunity to shoot really nice mule deer. So um, that's really fun. Our state's split between East River and West River, so the Missouri River jumps through South Dakota pretty much right down the center of the state. So we have different seasons for deer, and it gives the residents a lot of opportunities, and non-residents alike, because you can obtain archery tags. It just changed. It was pretty much over the counter for non-residents. If you want to hunt public land early, there has been some changes over the last year about there's actually an application period now, um, if you want to hunt public land early. Otherwise, you have to wait until October. I believe the residents get like the first several weeks. But there's like an East River. I can get a buck tag for East River with my bow, and I can get a buck tag for West River with my bow, and it's an any deer tag. Or I can just buy one statewide. But if you're looking for to maximize your opportunity, I can grab a buck tag each side of the state, and that's just my archery tags. From there, there is 7 different rifle or firearm seasons, that we could apply for all in one year. That just changed here recently too. Now we pick 2 of the 7. I believe it's 7, 6 or 7 to apply for in the first draw. So I mean, there is a ton of opportunities for
That's awesome.
big game hunting, and then we also have archery elk, we have rifle elk, we have Custer State Park elk, we have bighorn sheep tags, we have 2 mountain goat tags. So it's pretty wicked, man. Obviously, we got great turkey hunting too, and that's probably one of the best non-resident opportunities right there too, is the turkey hunting. Um, but dude, it's pretty awesome. Now, granted, the elk and stuff like that, those are tough tags to obtain. They're anywhere from you can get lucky and draw them early, but a lot of guys now, like my dad, drew a Black Hills bull tag this year at 16 preference points. Um, so I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
it's taken some
Take some
time.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I drew mine a couple years ago with 13. Like I mentioned, the Custer State Park, that one, people will probably never draw. There's close to 10,000 applicants. I believe it's a little over 9,300 applicants this last year, and like 8 tags.
Yeah.
So my dad's got 34 points. He's been applying since he was, in his early 20s, kind of thing. So it's insane. Some of the toughest hunts to draw in the entire country fall in South Dakota.
I think a lot of that is it's a balance because you could have open the doors and let everybody come in, but the quality of the hunts and the quality of the animals is just gonna drop dramatically. So I think having those types of systems and as I guess unfortunate as it is for the individual hunter, it's going to of course make the hunting experience for those that are drawn, a much greater chance of being able to get an animal and much higher quality, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Much higher
Mm-hmm.
quality hunt because you're going to be able to hunt animals that are most likely mature. They've been able to evade hunters over the years, evade auto accidents and whatever it may be, predators. So these systems that they have across the states. I think they can be tricky, like we
Yeah.
kind of mentioned, but they can also be good as far as being able to make sure that people, not both residents and non-residents, have a chance at good quality hunts. And that sounds like what South Dakota has going on for it.
Yeah, and we also have some buffalo tags as well, Custer State
Oh, that's
Park,
awesome.
and that's actually a really good non-resident opportunity too. I think the non-resident draw there is easier than the resident draw, to be honest. So as of
You
now,
got to bring in those people from out of state.
dude, it's an expensive tag, but it's there's been some top 10 bulls taken out of there, so it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. So the mule deer and the whitetail there in
Yeah,
South Dakota, are those like separate seasons, or they just kind of mesh them all as a deer season, and you can kind of get one or the other, or
yeah, that's
how do they kind of have that divided there?
yeah, that's a great question. It's all one season. So like for archery, you're getting your archery tag. For us residents, it's September 1 through the end of the year, and you're buying an any deer tag, so you can shoot one or the other. Um,
Gotcha.
all one season. Now rifle tags are a little bit different. You are putting in for certain units. You're going to put in. You can choose whether you're going to put in for the any deer tag, which most people just call it a mule deer tag, because if you're putting in for the any deer tag, you're trying to shoot a mule deer most likely.
Yeah.
And some of those units, you're going to wait several years for an any deer tag. Some people just put in for a whitetail only tag, a little bit easier to draw. And a lot of people put that in even for their second choice. So they might put in for that any deer tag on their first choice, put in for that whitetail on their second, because if they pull that second choice, they don't get the preference point taken away. So it's kind of strategy depending on what you're trying to do. So but even that rifle, it's still the same season, no split up there. It's just dependent on what tag you have in your pocket.
Gotcha. Yeah, here in Kentucky, we have back in the late '90s, they introduced like the elk population, reintroduced the elk population.
Oh yeah,
and we've got just kind of like it's like a full on lottery. Like everybody puts in, they draw out a certain number, and there's no preference points or anything. So there's been a lot of people that have gotten frustrated and been kind of critical for the process, but I understand. I've been putting in for it for I don't know, a handful of years now, and of course haven't drawn yet, but
yeah. I put in for it every year the last 3-4 years.
yeah. So they do their live drawing in like May, and it's just
Yeah,
kind of a luck of the draw type thing. It's crazy how just being somebody like here in the States and like just seeing how other residents respond to it. It's just crazy, and it's just, I guess it's just part of the process though. But
yeah. Yeah, they could definitely afford to raise that application
oh yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
It's fun,
definitely
but
could.
it's fun, but at the same time, like I look at it two ways. Like to me, it's like okay, I can throw in for Kentucky, and it's like a raffle ticket.
Yeah,
It's an inexpensive raffle ticket. Whereas, when I apply for New Mexico, it's like no, it's a big chunk of change on my credit card.
mm-hmm.
you know, and it makes you doubt. Like it would adjust things, but at the same time, I like that people have opportunity. So I go back and forth.
Yeah, it's definitely like you said with New Mexico, you got to make sure that you are willing to go, like, because I think a lot of the issue that they have here is that they'll have people who get drawn,
Mm-hmm.
and because they didn't really lose much money with the application process, they're like, well, I don't know if I really want to go, and then that just loses a spot for somebody who could have gone. So I think it's
Yeah.
that's a little bit of an issue as far as having the cheap application, is that you're going to have people who they'll throw it in, and then come August, they'll be like, well, I don't want to go. So
Well,
they'll
yeah,
just lose that spot.
some guys might not look at that as an issue,
Yeah.
but it's like those tags and those assumed uh, kills are part of the management plan,
Right.
and so yeah, it does play with that management plan a little bit, and there's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears here. I'm going to do a 180 on you here. So,
All right,
all right. So you've got a little bit of experience with podcasts now. I think you got a lot more than I do. So what's the Live Beyond Average podcast? What's
for
what's the
sure.
idea behind it? What's the inspiration? What is the mindset behind Live Beyond Average? I've listened to a few episodes, man. They are super awesome
Hey,
episodes.
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
so dude, okay, so Live Beyond Average actually started. Uh, so I'm filming. I'm going to start filming season 8 of our TV show this fall. So Live Beyond Average started, I think, season 2. At the end of season 2, at when my early years of TV, we always came up with a mantra every year for the show, and so like one of our mantras one year was like everything to lose. Like everybody always said, "Oh, I got nothing to lose," and so
Yeah.
it always made me mad. So I was like, "No, dude, like you should approach your day like you have everything to lose, you know, not like you have nothing to lose. Like if you have nothing to lose, you don't care, you know. Like I don't know, it was just my mindset. And so
Yeah.
I think
I can
one
understand
year
that.
we came up with the mantra of live beyond average. So maybe it was the start of season 3, and we came up with that live beyond average, and that one just stuck. You know, it was just truly us. It was like we no longer had to search for a description of who we were and who I was and how I approached my day. Um, and so I've never picked another mantra for a season after that. It's just been that, and it's kind of been, a new tagline to our business that we never planned on. It just happened. And so, oh man, what's it been? 2 years ago, I forgot to do a podcast about that. 2 years ago, I started a podcast. It was in May. Um, I was working for another company yet. So for the first 7 years, 6.5, 7 years of my business, I was still working full time for other companies, and then still working full time on Run to Gun, trying to grow it so I could take it full time someday. So I was
Yeah.
hammering out long weeks for years, and I was working for a company that I thought I was really going to enjoy, and I absolutely just hated it. I mean, truly hated it.
Yeah.
And so, I needed a new outlet um, for myself to just speak. And I had, I had been with, at that point, Run to Gun had been going for 6 years, and I'd finally felt like I earned my right to speak. I'd always kind of been quiet. I've laid back. I put out my work. I tried to just let my work talk for me. Kept building experience, but I didn't feel like I ever had the right to say anything yet per se, and part of it might have just been confidence. Um, really diving in, being able to express what was going on in my head. Um, and so I finally just kind of like I just knew I was like, dude, this is my time. I need this. So I literally started the podcast just for me to like an outlet to get away from this other job that I had. And I knew I hated this job so much that I had to start doing more for my business to continue branding, to give myself an opportunity for a year down the road or 18 months down the road to give myself an opportunity to be done with it. And so for me, I was like, okay, next step is a podcast. So I'm a video guy. I love videoing everything. So my podcast basically started with me just talking to my camera, or me and a buddy sitting down talking to the camera. I would put it up on YouTube. I'd rip the audio out. I'd upload it to a podcast platform. I'm just a video guy. I like to do that. So that's kind of how it started, man. And it just kind of kicked off. I didn't necessarily call it like the Run to Gun podcast. I just really wanted it aimed towards live beyond average, our mantra, because I wanted to be able to really encompass everything that we do because we're kind of a complicated brand. Run to Gun got started to train hunters and outdoorsmen for hunts and upcoming adventures. And so we have the fitness side of things that we started in 2011, 2012, before it was a big fad, before it was part of the industry. It's not really a fad anymore. It's proved itself to be sustainable, but it was before it was a big thing. And so we have that part of our business, and we have the hunting part of our business, and we have the training part of our business. All these different little avenues. Nutrition, just living. How exercise ties in for you to be a better husband, a better mother, a better father, and how it helps you make tougher decisions in life because of the discipline that's built. And so it's kind of a complicated brand like that, and that Live Beyond Average just wraps and encompasses everything together, and it opens up doorways that I can sit down with people and talk about any subject in life, and it can relate back to Live Beyond Average, whether it's getting ready for a bear hunt or basic nutrition.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you chose to use that platform and using your platform to, really go after that audience and go after people who are interested in that, because I think we are, like, in society in general, like, the average is kind of like the what we use for, I guess, our self evaluation. And I think a lot of people, they
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily want to, they don't want to go through the work, they don't want to go through the discipline and the whole process of being somebody who is above average. And like, you see that in so many different avenues and so many different uh, ways of life, like you mentioned, with being a father, being a mother, being good at your job, being
Yeah,
somebody who's going to invest into other people, being uh, somebody who's going to follow God, being somebody who's going to hunt. I mean,
exactly.
there's so many different avenues that we can go beyond average, and that's really awesome that you chose this as a way of doing that. And it's cool that you spoke out and speaking something that's like in your heart. Like, I think we just get so inundated with doing what everybody else wants to do that
Right.
we just don't. We just kind of keep all of our thoughts. We keep everything in, and that's why I like podcasting so much, because I can get on here and I can talk to awesome guys like you. I can talk to other people that, and we can get on here. We can talk about the things that matter most to us, like hunting and our relationship with God, our family. I mean, just all these things that matter to us, and there's not really anybody that can say anything differently about it. And that's why I love these platforms, and that's why I really wanted to reach out with you, because I knew those are things that you prioritize as well. And that's great that you were able to do that, and I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Of course, man. It's been crazy. It's just funny how things work out. And like you said, it's all process. It's all just you know figuring out within yourself what it is that you enjoy doing, and then from there figuring out, like, okay, am I going to make a living on this? Is this something I thoroughly enjoy? If it is something I love to do and I'm not making much on it, do I continue to still do it because I love it? It makes me happy, and just you know finding your way through that avenue, and just figuring it out. So I mean, there's a lot of years, like, I didn't pay myself a dime from Run to Gun till basically a year ago today.
Yeah,
About that time, I reinvested every dime I had into it, let my other jobs that I work pay our bills, and just use it to grow, and just hope that someday, like, trust the process of it. And there was 100 times from day one to year 7 that I was like, dude, is this worth it? Do I can, like, this is a ton of energy. This is a lot of hours. Like, but at the end of the day, it was like, I just love doing it. It didn't feel like a bunch of work most of the time. It was fun. It's what I wanted to do. And so it was worth really going through that process, and a lot of, the sucky days that you're like, what am I doing? Because
yeah.
you're tired and it's a lot of hours, but it's just accepting that process to get somewhere that takes a ton of work and sacrifice, and that is what is so awesome. it's that process. It's not even that when you get to the point, it's that loving that whole journey to the point.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a firm believer that we all have something that we're passionate about. And we all have something that really, really inspires us in our bones, and in our soul. And we all have something that we can use to be to contribute to other people, and be able to make a difference in people's lives. And like it's crazy to think that there's people out there that they're okay with waking up, and they're okay with going to a job that they hate, coming home, sitting on the couch, going to bed, eating junk food, and repeating that process all over again. And that mentality, it can be so detrimental. And of course, I know this is something that you can relate to with your podcast and with your brand and everything, but I just think there's so many different things that life can offer, that God has given us through this life that He has given us, that we all have something that we're passionate about, and we all have something that we can definitely contribute to other people.
Oh, 100%. We all have gifts, and it's just learning how to maneuver with those gifts and how to share them with others. That's purely what it is. Like you talk about that road, that process. There's so many times where I sat down and you prayed, and it was like, okay, if you want me to keep going on this road, like
Mm-hmm.
you ask God, like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Because like putting a ton of energy towards it, like I don't want to be wasting energy if this isn't where you want me. Like, am I not listening? You know. But then another door would open, another door would open, and I always just knew and just believed, like, okay, I'd ask it. I'd literally be like, just if this isn't where you want me, like, close the doors and make it obvious, because like, is it just me selfishly wanting to continue doing it,
Right.
chasing run to gun, chasing to where I want it to be, or is it what you want me to do, where you want me right now, and I just something else would open, something where else can continue it, it's just kind of crazy. I'm just a believer in in that, that it's where I'm supposed to be right now, and that energy spent is what is supposed to be happening.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely experienced as well with this podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
I started this in the April of last year is when I
Okay.
started it,
Nice.
and it was gaining some ground and that kind of thing, doing good over the summer. And then October came around, and at the beginning of October, my dad passed away just kind of suddenly for some heart issues that he had. And
Yeah.
at that point, like I took about, I don't know, I think it's probably 4 5 months off,
Yep.
and just kind of reevaluate, just kind of see, like, do I really want to keep using this platform? Do I really want to keep investing all this time and this money into this? Is this something that's going to be, and basically I was kind of doing like what you were saying. I was praying to God. I was like, is this really, like what I'm supposed to be doing here? And is this really, something that you want me to continue on? And
Yeah.
then it's like the next day I got a message from somebody asking, like, what's going on with the podcast. And it was like, okay, I guess this is something I need to get going again. So
Isn't that
uh,
crazy?
it's crazy how all that stuff works out, and it's cool. And it's just seeing God in the whole process, and being obedient, and being somebody who's
Exactly.
going to do and pursue God, and do the things that He's asking us to do. It's just an incredible experience. And I know that's something that uh, you've got some experience with as well. And the whole thing with your platform here recently, it looks like you've been doing a lot of your like the 10-minute tales. I've been those things have been so
Mm-hmm.
cool to you're reaching out to people from literally all across the country, and you're sitting there having like a chat with them, just kind of hearing their story, and that passion, it's infectious. So what's that kind of look like as far as the 10-minute tales go for you?
Yeah. So, what happened was it was just that lag dead time in the year for me, where there's like, there's not a lot of podcast subjects, not a lot of, post hunts to talk about. It's winter time up here. It's disgusting and gross and boring for so long. And I was struggling to come up with new content for the podcast. And I had a buddy that was like, dude, we've talked about, just telling stories, for like 10 minutes about all of our hunts kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, you're totally right. Like, I need to do more of that. And I'm like, but honestly, like, everybody's heard about all my stories and my hunts. Like, we've talked about that. Like, they've followed our show for 6-7 years. Like, why don't we get them on talking about their favorite hunts, and just 10-minute quick talk. We can do it on Instagram. Go on Instagram Live. I can just screen record, rip the audio off. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's like, it's a good opportunity. So the whole thought process was, let's just use our platform for some of our fans or followers or friends, whatever it is. And they've been loyal following for how long, or even if it's been a week, and let them use our platform to tell their story. And so we aim for that 10 minutes. Sometimes it ends up being 20, sometimes it ends up
Right.
being 6, whatever it is. But just a cool opportunity to use what we've already kind of built to let somebody else talk and tell their favorite hunting experience or one of their best hunting memories, whatever it is, or how they're getting into it. We've had a couple guys, one guy that he's an archer that lives in New York City, like not
Wow,
the
that's
most
awesome.
common thing in the world probably. And so just kind of told about how he got into it in his first turkey hunt on some public land, like outside of New York City, like insane, really cool. And so just wanted to give an opportunity to other just people anywhere to tell their story. Like, always looking for more people to do it. Um, and it's been fun, man. We're going to continue to get people on to do that and just use our platform. And then it just builds a whole new connection too, like using our social platforms to personally connect with more people on that face-to-face basis, which in turn, like long run too, it just builds such a stronger brand and community. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I've enjoyed sitting there watching a few of those, and I've seen some people on there that I knew that I've connected with on social media or other
yeah,
ways, and I've also been able to kind of connect with people that I don't know. So you kind of get all these people from all over the place, and we all have different backgrounds, and be able to hear their stories. It's pretty inspirational. It's pretty cool to be able to have this platform, the social media platform, where we can we have the opportunity to connect with, like, I live here in Kentucky and you're in South Dakota. We can literally click with or connect with each other by clicking a button. I mean, and
yeah,
guys over in New York City or Chicago or down in Texas, California. I mean, just all over the place. And it's just cool how you've used that platform to hear people's stories and hear the background. That's awesome.
dude, it's been fun. And like, there's so many creative ways, to do stuff just slightly differently, or to just do these little things that just build that community. It's fun. We did kind of in the heart of all the COVID crap back in March,
Yeah.
early April around here. We Me and my wife just jumped on one night, did a trivia night on Facebook Live, and just asked a bunch of really just deep dive questions, and like for true fans of Run to Gun TV. And it was the most watched live, like interactive thing we have ever done on our socials. Like, we had 4,000 views, like impressions, in an hour.
That's
It was
awesome.
it was crazy. Like, we've never had anything quite like that. And it was literally like an hour before. It was a Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Like, just kind of came to me like, dude, do a Run and Gun trivia night. So I literally just made a quick graphic on Photoshop, posted it. It was like, hey, we're going live at 9 p.m. for Run and Gun trivia, first ever. Like, jump on to win prizes. Like, pulled out a bunch of our stuff that we had, like some old hats and shirts that we had left over, like some of our new products. And we literally just like started asking crazy questions from the show. People jumping on, trying to answer them to win stuff. Like, super fun. People got to escape, got to get their minds off of stress and all connect with each other, have some fun. Like, yeah, it was fun that they got to learn a few things that maybe they didn't know, but like, yeah, that's so generic and dumb. Like, they don't need to know any of that. It was purely from just that, offering an outlet for people to have some fun and have some entertainment. And like, that's a big part of our brand that I always try to remember. Like, when I'm creating more content for people, I'm always looking to, okay, how do I add value? How do I add value? Like, are they getting anything out of this? And I tend to overstress. And then I have to remember, like, hey, part of value is entertainment too.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be like a how-to video or, a learning. Like, so much of what we all try to do is that stuff. But like, as creators or brand operators, whatever it is, having a podcast, like this, whatever it is, like, entertainment in itself is value. Like, that is
Mhm.
how, we escape. That is how we get our mind off stress. That's how we have fun sometimes. And I think that's just a big reminder for all of us that create content. You know, entertainment, it's huge.
Absolutely, yeah. So adding value is definitely something that is an important aspect, and that entertainment aspect is something that a lot of times in those those platforms that have like a lot of that how tos and all that kind of thing, they just forget that aspect, and
Yeah,
people, especially during that time, you mentioned this was back in March. During that time, that was a very stressful time for a lot of people all across the world and all across the
right.
country, and to just jump on there and just give somebody something else to think about at the time, and is just that's pretty cool that you guys did that. I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out because I missed that part, and I'm gonna have to see that. That's pretty cool.
We did screen record it and throw it up on our YouTube for fun too.
Yeah,
So
I'll have to
there
look.
is a copy of it on our YouTube. It's under our. I think we posted it under the Live Beyond Average podcast, so shouldn't be too far back.
Awesome, awesome. I'll definitely have to check it out. But a lot of your platform too is diving into the aspects of being healthy and being
Yes,
healthy in life, and we've already kind of discussed this a little bit, being healthy as a hunter. So what kind of things does run to gun, and your other avenues of business, what kind of things do you offer as far as that goes?
for sure. So, um, obviously we started it to train hunters and outdoorsmen for hunts. I went to school, got a degree in sports exercise and wellness, and then started training after college. So originally, we wanted to really focus on just, training hunters and stuff. But it's funny because 90% of my clientele are generic population, everyday people wanting to be healthier. You know,
Hmm.
so we do both. Uh, Definitely build out and periodize programs for people to uh, resistance training, cardiovascular, um, to really just get stronger, be healthier. For some people, it is losing 50 pounds. For some people, I have a husband and wife that are 62 that have trained with me for the last 4.5 years. That for them, it's they just want to be healthy and they want to walk their grandkids, be there for their wedding day.
That's
And
awesome.
they literally tell me that on mornings that because they train at 6:30 a.m. 3 days a week, and they're there's mornings they're human that they don't want to get up and come in, but they're always there, and they're just like we always kind of joke around about it. Like I'll be like, oh nope, you're doing this for Abby. Like don't forget, like you drop one of their grandkids' names, and it's really cool because that is their motivation. And
Yeah.
so I love to see that swing. When I first started in 2011 training people, the shows, bodybuilding, stuff like that was so prevalent where I lived, that so much those first couple years of it was like everybody was doing it for the vanity reasons, the vanity metrics, and it got really tiresome. And it's just been fun to see that pendulum swing over and really turn. And I think a lot of people's perspective on health and fitness has really switched from this like how good can I look to how good can I feel. And
Yeah.
so it's been really fun from a health professional, a personal trainer standpoint, a strength coach standpoint to see this because that's the longevity side of things. That's how you don't just do it for 90 days and quit. That's how it turns into just part of the daily routine, and that's what we try to preach is the building discipline. That is what I teach with all my clients is this about building discipline. This is and when you challenge yourself physically, what happens? Right? You build mentality. When you challenge yourself physically, you're building a stronger mind, and then it's just like you're building a bigger building every day. Because when you build a stronger mind, what happens? You can push yourself more physically because you're stronger mentally, and so it's just a circle that feeds off each other. And you're just going to find yourself building better discipline again to make tougher decisions in life when something happens and you need, your character is built by all these things that we do when people aren't looking, and part of that is the training or the nutrition. And so when you build strong discipline there, we build better character for that when we're tempted in life or when we have tough decisions, that you're either going to choose to take road right and do the right thing or take a road left and veer off course. And I'm a firm believer that fitness and health can help us do that.
But yeah, just kind of go off what you were saying. It's just it's so cool to hear that story, because I think whenever people they hear somebody that's healthy, like I think naturally in their mind, they automatically think of somebody who's, I don't know, maybe in their early 30s, late 20s, who's probably ripped and been, exercising and eating healthy for, you know, 5, 10 years or whatever it is. But I think the idea of discipline and the idea of exercise, it's something that's for everybody. And,
Yeah.
to hear that story about the people, is folks that you have that you're working with that are in their 60s and getting up early and getting in there and working hard, and they have those motivators. I think it's something that can relate to everybody. Like everybody's got something that motivates them, whether it's maybe it is how they look, but in most cases 9 times out of 10 it's going to be how they feel, because quality of life is something that's going to stick with you forever. It's going to be something that is going to be able to make your life better, and it's going to be able to make you uh, enjoy getting out of bed, and or at least enjoy it more. For some
Yeah.
people,
And,
it's gonna really allow you to continue on with life.
and the way you look is just, it's going to be a benefiting factor. Like if you're, if you're doing things to work on your health anyway, you're going to end up looking better. It's just going to
Right.
happen. I mean, so I always tell my clients is it's the bonus. It's like the bonus you get, the reward you get for doing what you should do anyway. Um, so it's pretty cool, man. My most dedicated clients are between 60 and 75. Like those are the ones that never miss.
Those guys are just they're absolute warriors. Like I said, I mean, a lot of people think of the younger ones being the ones that are healthy or whatever, but it's those guys that just get in there and they just they crank it out, and they they have different motivators, and their motivator is literally to be able to do things like walking down the aisle at a
Yeah,
wedding, or to be able to take their grandkids fishing, or be able to still climb up in a tree stand when you're 60 years
exactly,
old. I mean, it's those
exactly.
types of things that are motivating for a lot of people, and that's something that you guys offer as far as your exercise programs, right? So is
Yeah,
that something that is a online program? Is that something that's in person, or is it a hybrid, or what's that kind of look like as far as the run to gun exercise deals?
yeah. It's both. So I do a specific amount of hours a week where I am one on one with people, or 1 on 3, whatever it is. So I have my personal clients that way, and then I also have then my personal clients that are online. So like let's just use you as an example. You could have a program and that I periodize for you on a week to week basis. I read out your routine. You know exactly what you're going to do from a warm up standpoint, reps, sets, rest period, everything when you step in the gym. So it's like getting a homework assignment essentially, and you complete that assignment. So I have that, and then even on top of that, then I have a lesser priced option. Um, that is our members section on our website. That's just a $9.99 option. So you're spending under $10 a month, and we post a daily workout there. Like right now, I'm doing my 80 days to backcountry workout. So I'm getting ready for a big hunt in Nevada here in August, an elk hunt. And so I decided to share our TV show. We show like, 10 to 12 workouts, what I do getting ready for hunts every year. Well, this is showing on like a daily or bi daily basis what I'm actually doing. And so on the video show, like, 70% of that, the online members section is actually giving you exactly what I'm doing. So you're gonna, if you're a member and you're logged in, you're seeing what I did for my warm up that day. You're seeing my workout, my reps, what my rest period was, and I have people that mimic that and follow that as well. So that's another option for people. So there's multiple options that people have from the training standpoint there. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome that you're doing it with them. I mean, like, I think a lot of people, a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers, and that kind of thing, that's so easy for them to kind of sit back and it's like, here's what you need to do, and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But whenever being like a student or being a client or whatever it is, being somebody who is, following somebody's lead, to see that person doing the same thing that they're asking you to do, it just does something for them as far as their mental acceptance, I guess, of the task that you give them. That's awesome that you're doing that.
Oh, dude, sharing the suffering is like key to connecting with people. I have
Absolutely.
so many guys that have been members for a while, and I can see when everybody logs in, right? So from the back end of the website, and I have multiple guys that I know haven't logged in a while, and I started this 80 Days to Backcountry video series, and they saw that I was posting the full workouts on the members section, and so they started working out, 2 weeks ago when this started, hammering it again, and now they're texting me every single day, and they're like, dude, that workout totally sucked. That was awesome. Like, how did you do on, like, what was your time on this? Like, whatever it was, like, it's just funny how it reconnects guys. And when you're sharing that suffering with them, what they're actually starting to get out of it and how they're pushing themselves differently. So it goes to show you, like, that we're supposed to be connected as humans. It's pretty neat.
You've also got a supplemental line as well that you kind of involve with your Live Beyond Average brand and
Yeah.
the Run to Gun brand. And I was kind of looking at that. So what is it that kind of really sets apart your supplemental line Seeker from others? I know you see a lot of different ones out there, and what is
Yeah.
it about yours that really sets it apart?
Dude, so kind of crazy how that got it started. Back in 2011, when we were building Run to Gun, I was sitting down with a buddy at a table, and he was helping me with making some sales decks, because I didn't know anything about editing or anything back then yet, or design. And we were joking around. He's like, dude, let's just build this brand so someday. And we were both like, yeah, I want to start a supplement line someday. Like, let's build the brand up so we can start a supplement line someday. Granted, like, this is back when I'm fresh out of college. I'm 22 years old. And I literally, it has been like a back dream of mine to do that. And so here we are, 7, 8 years later, 9 years later, whatever it is. And yeah, last year I just finally, I had worked for a supplement company on the franchise side of things previous to this,
Yeah.
for 18 months. And so I learned a ton about the supplement industry, learned a boatload about ingredients, just really built up my knowledge there. And so when I got out of that, it kind of, I had built up my brand enough at that point where I felt like, okay, maybe it's the time, that I can maybe swing this and make it work. And I had opportunities in the past to work with other supplement companies, as far as partnering with Run to Gun, multiple different companies. And I almost partnered with another one, just prior to this. Thankfully, I'm so thankful. At the time, I was kind of pissed off. Thankfully,
Yeah.
we were going to partner with one of them and make like a signature line, like a Run to Gun signature line. And communication just kind of fell through, and it kind of made me mad. And then I finally was like, no, dude, like, that's like, what am I doing? Like, go do your own thing. Like, I don't want to rely on other brands for my personal income. Like,
Yeah.
I've always felt that way, even from the sponsorship side of things to selling commercials for our show. I'm like, all of that is pendant. Like, whether somebody wants to work with me or sponsor me, whatever it is so pendant on them, so pendant on the economy, on what they can afford. That I'm like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I want to build my own brand, do my own thing. I'd rather risk it all doing that. It was just my personal thought. And so finally, last year, I started working on it in like April last year, and we had our first product out, pre-order mid-August last year. So we shipped out first products in September. So we're not even a year yet, technically, for our supplement line. And it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. We have right now, it's called Seeker. So we have a couple flavors out of Seeker. It's a mental focus, hydration, and energy blend supplement. It's pretty sweet. It combines 3 different nootropics with a full electrolyte blend, 5 different electrolytes. So like Gatorade has 2. We have a full 5 electrolytes, and then 100 milligrams of caffeine. So nothing that you're going to get like massively spiked on, like drinking a Bang. And then you have 300 in, and you shouldn't drink another one that day. People do, but you shouldn't. And so it's something that you can take a couple different times a day. We specifically designed it to be in a small container, but still hold 30 servings. So if you were going in the backcountry, you could take, the full 4.2 ounce container, have 30 servings, don't have to worry about rationing single serve packets all the time, um, and have everything you need there. So we did that a little bit differently than some other companies. Um, we dropped a second flavor of that, and then we dropped what we call the Live Beyond Average drinkable multivitamin. So we dropped that full spectrum multivitamin that is again in the small container, uh, is drinkable, so you're getting in better hydration, you're absorbing better. So that's been really cool. All of our ingredients on our labels are transparent, so you know exactly how much of everything that is in there. So some companies, they put a blend in and you can see what's in there, but they have the total, like, oh, the total of all the stuff equals 5 grams. Okay, well, how much of each am I getting? Right?
Right.
So like ours, we break down, you can see exactly how much of every ingredient you get. So just very transparent that way. We are coming out with a third flavor of Seeker here. It's going to be out very soon, about I think 2 to 4 weeks. 2 to 4 weeks. I just signed off on the final flavor test yesterday, actually. Uh, so we'll be getting that in really quick, and then we have a surprise new release product coming out about that same time frame. So we're continuing to grow, coming out with additional products. We will continue that. Um, as well. So it's been exciting, man. And then our products are made in the USA as well. So we're a small family owned business. We do every shipment that goes out is being shipped by myself or my wife if I'm gone. So it's like we're doing all of this. It's not like it's coming out of some big warehouse somewhere with no connection to anybody. This is definitely our small business, part of our brand. We take a lot of pride in it. We take a lot of pride in making this in the USA and building a family brand and doing it the right way.
That's awesome that you guys are able to do that all within the states. I mean, that's really cool that you have prioritized that, because I think so many companies, so many different supplement lines, really just uh, so many companies in general, they send those things out internationally, and I think that just has an effect on the whole product and the whole manufacturing process in general. And that's awesome that you've been able to do that within the United States. And you know a lot of supplements that I've seen, whether you're at, whatever store it is,
Yeah.
you see them in these huge containers. And that's something that I think a lot of people, they don't really think of. You see these huge containers, you open it up and only like 3/4 of it's filled up. So that's awesome that you guys have, you've had the mentality of a hunter having this in the backcountry and being able to throw it in the backpack without having this huge jug of stuff that they have to carry around. That's really
Oh
cool
yeah.
that's something that you have prioritized.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it's funny because you learn about even like stuff like that on how much extra room you need in the bottle to fit a scoop to still get your hand in there, to still,
Yeah.
like, there's so many variables like that go into the design of everything. um, but yeah, I mean, the actual product Seeker is just fun in that sense, because it is like, yeah, you can take it in the backcountry and benefit, but you can also benefit sitting right here at your desk, because it's not necessarily just a pre-workout. It doesn't have like creatine, beta alanine, things like that in it that are specific for performance. This is like literally specific for better mental focus, better hydration. So like, yeah, you're sitting at your desk every day. We have a lot of people that are farmers that are in the tractor that are rocking it up here in South Dakota during planting season, because they're just getting better focus. They're not drinking 3 bangs a day or a Monster,
Right.
and just a little bit, maybe a healthier option for them to lower that caffeine intake, um, but still get in focus and energy, and just kind of balance those things versus drinking 3 cups of coffee followed by a couple Monsters every day. So that is why I designed it. I just felt like for me there was just something missing that I wanted in my day, and I wanted to balance that, what I needed, and so that's how it got designed. It's been kind of fun.
That's awesome. I'll make sure that whenever I put the show notes together for this, that I'll include all the links for all your products in the show notes. That way, if anybody listening, they want to check them out, then they can just go down there, click on those, and it'll send it right to them. And I
Yeah,
appreciate you sharing
let,
that.
let me get a box made up for you. I'll ship it out for you, and let's get over like a discount code for your listeners or something for this
Heck yeah,
episode.
let's do that. Yeah, we can definitely get that together, and I'll include this in my little intro as well. we'll
Perfect.
definitely get that together. So whenever I guess by this point, by the time they're listening to this, they'll be able to they'll would have already heard it, but
Yeah.
I'll include that in the show notes as well. I think that's a great idea.
Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I got one more question for you before I
Yeah.
kind of let you go here, and I appreciate you talking with me today. But this is something that I always ask all my guests, and I get all kinds of responses, and I love hearing the responses. So my question for you, my closing question here is, what does hunting mean to you?
Dude, that's such a good question. And like I could ramble for the next hour. You wanna go another
Yeah,
hour?
we can go another hour on this, couldn't we?
Dude, hunting for me is just it's like okay, this everything sounds cheesy, right? When somebody go, oh, what's something mean to you? Like, oh, it means everything to me, like super cheesy, right? So I don't want to say it like that, but like hunting definitely for me is a serenity that just gets me creative. It puts me back to where I need to be, and definitely connects me. I definitely can tell when I'm out on my hunts, especially when I'm on my bigger hunts where I'm out away from cell phone service, away from people, just have my brother with me who's my cameraman. I can definitely tell that that's areas where we as humans thrive in, out in the outdoors. My creativity level skyrockets during the hunting season when I'm out and about more, or when I'm even in the summer when I'm out fishing. My mental clarity is hunting is the only place my mental clarity is matched to post workout. You know that feeling you get when you really challenge yourself with a really hard workout. You get this next level of just excitement, of mental clarity. You're so exhausted, but your mind's very clear. Hunting is the only other area where I feel that same mental clarity, you know, way less anxiety of life, of worries that we get as humans about some of the dumbest stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and so for me, it's really that serenity, that escape and it's not an escape from reality, it's an escape to reality,
absolutely.
really, that what it is and where we should be and where we should focus. Very much important time and bringing it full circle, very all the way back to the beginning of our podcast, where we should focus our time with the people that are closest to us, like our kids and our family. Because I think if I had this big conversation with my wife here last week about building toughness in kids, and I think it's a great place where we ourselves can build this toughness and learn how to cope with things the right way instead of just curling up in a ball and trying to escape and quit. you know, I really believe that is a place where you know we actually learn how to face fears head on. We learn how to face difficulties head on, and it's where a place where we can take our families and our kids to learn about life, learn how to cope with life, learn how to deal with problems and issues the right way. So that is definitely what hunting is to me, and that whole challenge of it that is unknown is how we get better as humans in everyday life.
Man, that's awesome. That's an awesome response. I love the way you put that. It's a escape to reality because I mean everything that we kind of see here. The whole social media. We've talked about that quite a bit, but all that is it's not the things that matter because the things that matter the most are the ones that are under your roof and being out and hunting and that kind of thing. It reprioritizes those things and allows you that clarity and focus, and that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Of course,
But
man. I'm pumped you had me on the show.
yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you being on the show. So where can they connect with you? Where can they see your products? And like I said, I'll include all the links and everything that I've been able to find. So where can they connect with you? The Run to Gun, Live Beyond Average, all those brands that you kind of affiliate with.
For sure. So at Run to Gun are all my social media handles. Just RUN, the number two GUN, no spaces. Just Run to Gun. That's our YouTube. That is our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok. Everything is Run to Gun. So made it nice and easy for you. Um, and then on the podcast wise, you can just jump on any major platform and type in hashtag Live Beyond Average. I think you can probably even search Run to Gun because it's called Live Beyond Average by Run to Gun. So you might be able to type in Run to Gun and find that as well. So we're on I think pretty much every single major platform there to listen. And then, yeah, if you want to check out our products, obviously, like you're going to find them on our social medias, like posting about them. But if you just want to, directly go look at them, check out the labels, whatever it is, just run2gun.com. And then you'll see the shop, our store right there on the shop tab. And you can check it all out. So that's continually building. We got 3 SKUs out. We'll have 5 SKUs out probably within a month. So we're working on getting everything out for you guys.
All right, man. I'm definitely going to include those links. I'll include all that information in the show notes. And after we stop recording here, me and Jordan, we're going to get the code figured out so you guys can go and check out the products that are on there using the code. So, man, I appreciate you being on the. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I'm feeling generous today, so I think we're going to give them a big discount.
Oh, man, that's going to be awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man. This was a really fun conversation. I appreciate you, being on the Rise Kill Eat podcast with me.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, and I hope this is the start of a new friendship.
Thank you guys for listening to the Rise Kill Eat podcast today. If you want to check out Run2Gun and all the products offered, head over to run2gun.com. So that's RUN, the number 2, GUN.com, run2gun.com today, and use the promo code RiseKillEat25. That's all lowercase, RiseKillEat, all together, the number 2, the number 5, and you'll take 25% off of your order. So be sure to check that out today. Also, you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, you can find me at the handle @RiseKillEat, like the name of this show. And then on Facebook at the URL facebook.com/RKEafield. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Jordan, and make sure that you guys subscribe on your podcast platform so you don't miss out on the conversations to come. Catch you guys next time.